On behalf of the Linn-Mar School Board, I welcome everybody to this meeting, and I now call it to order at 5 o'clock. John, will you please determine a quorum?
Director Buchholz.
Here.
Director Foss.
Here.
Director Mansour.
Here.
Director Maury.
Here.
Director Thomas.
Here.
Director Walker. President Lau Lancaster.
Here. Once again, to keep the meeting flowing, I will read each agenda item number and then ask for a report or a motion. I also want to thank everyone for all their back-to-school extra meetings and all the extra time that you have given to welcome our staff and especially our students back. And it is good to have a lot of noise again in the building, so thank you very much. At this time, we have item number 200, our adoption of our agenda. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Barry and a second by Britt. Is there any discussion? If there is no discussion at this time, I have all in favor, please say yes.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. At this time, we do not have anyone signed in to speak to us, so we will continue from item number 300. We will go to item number 400, our informational reports. Bring it for 401, staffing report. Carla.
Hello. Okay, so I'm going to go through last year and then this year for staffing, some different items of interest that you might have, and feel free to throw questions at me as you feel the need. So first we're going to start with 2025. So 24-25 in review. I thought I put up staff by the numbers. So at the beginning of 2024, we had 1,114. Over that 12 months, we had 178 hires and 144 terminations. And as of June 30th of 2025, we have 1,131. So you might see my little asterisk there, wait, what, people leave, it's weird, but I just kind of wanted to go over some reasons why they leave. I would say for the most part, 80% of the people who left here, it was either retirement, other employment, moving, or salary. And salary wasn't a big surprise for us. Most of those people were associates, and we got that rectified this last year, so that's very positive. We did have a few isolated issues for people leaving, but we shared those with appropriate parties and got all that taken care of. So I do want to note there were only 41 employees who completed exit interviews out of 144. So probably about 30%. Sometimes that's hard. Once they've left our grips, then it's really hard to kind of get them back and to talk to us about things. So our goal this year is to get it up to at least 50% if we can. Our goal is also not to have that many people leave. And when we move into this year, currently we have 1,138 staff members starting school. We've had 74 hires, probably more than that as of today, since July 1st, and 34 of those have been student support associates. So that is absolutely amazing. We are so excited about that. I also broke down all of our employees by age group, which I thought was kind of interesting. It's always good to kind of know who makes up your employee pool. So as I looked through the numbers, you can see baby boomers are slowly declining, as in employment. I don't mean any other way, just employment. They're declining employment. Yeah, okay. Yes, okay. Everybody's young at heart. So Generation X and millennials make up a majority of our staff at this point, and Generation Z is basically growing. So I tried to look back and see, with our collective group of employees, what all have they witnessed in these last many, many years? They've witnessed the JFK assassination, the moon landing, the start of MTV, which was just absolutely amazing in the 80s. I'm an Xer. The Challenger explosion, I remember that. 9/11 attacks, Y2K, Jerry, do you remember that? And social media. So we've gone through look at all of these experiences that we have that we can bring to all of our students. It's amazing how much experience and things that we can share with all of our staff, with our students. And then it's good to know every generation has different preferences. So basically we look at benefits might look different for a boomer than it would for a Gen Z. So we need to kind of look in between and see what's important to those folks, as well as all of them have general work styles. No one is put in a box depending on their generation, but it does help us kind of get to know our staff as a whole. And then we had some new teachers come on board this year. We had 26 and a half new teachers. Basically, if you look at them by level, high school had the most at 13, elementary had 9, middle school had 3.5. That's not 3.5 people, it's 3.5 FTE. And then intermediate had 1, and elementary had 9. I'm not sure if I said all that together. So we did have 4 hires in special education, which was amazing this year. 4 recalls from our reduction in force of the year prior. 8 of these people have their masters, and 6 are brand new teachers. I did find it interesting that 13 of our new employees went to college in Iowa. So I kind of broke that down also into a pie chart. And it looks like, as usual, my alma mater, UNI, has the most. Then we followed closely by University of Iowa. So you can see we have quite a bit of our staff come from Iowa colleges and come to work for Linn-Mar. We have Panthers and Hawkeyes and Mustangs. We have a Cohawk, which I went down a rabbit hole. That is technically a hawk, and a cardinal. So we think that's really wild. What I also think is wild is how the name Cohawk came about. Does anybody know anything about that? Well, let me tell you. It is. Nice trivia. So, though Cole College fans cheer for the Cohawks, had 9 students voted differently in 1922, they could just as easily be rooting for Co-Trojans. In 1922, the Co-Athletic Council began the quest for a mascot and held a contest giving a Co-blanket, to the person who could create an original name for co-athletic teams. From more than 600 entries, the faculty committee selected Trojans, Rangers, and Ramblers to put to a student vote, encouraging students to vote none if they did not like any of the options. Of the 3 names, 307 voted for Trojans, while 95 picked Rangers, and 42 picked Ramblers. A majority, 314, voted for none of the options. And for a few weeks, it appeared as if co-teams would simply continue as Crimson and Gold. Alas, Professor C.W. Perkins, chairman of the German department, developed the Cohawk name. In a letter to the Cosmos, he explained that hawks represented Iowa, the Hawkeye state. In a Native American language, K-O, means like the, so the nickname means like the Hawks. Perkins added in his letter that he thought the phrase Cohawks had a good alliteration and therefore sounded more appealing. His suggestion was put to a student vote, and it was accepted in November of 1922. So now you've all learned something about what a Cohawk is. Yes. All right. We also had some new administrators and directors join this year. We had an elementary director of teaching and learning, a high school director of teaching and learning, an executive director of student support services, a Lynn Grove principal and athletic director, as well as assistant athletic director. So currently, moving forward, the number of openings changes every single second, but right now we have 7 associates, 1 custodian, and 4 nutrition services openings, which if you compare that to this time last year, we have probably less than a third of the openings that we had for associates and many, many more applications this year than we had last year.
You said 7?
7.
Yeah.
Total of 12 openings as of when you pulled the data.
Ish. Yes, because it just fluctuates all the time.
I was just clarifying the associates number since that's been.
Associates. Yes.
Got it.
So that has been wonderful. Thank you for approving the increase for them. Summer job fair, we did that. It was really hot that day. It was very, very hot that day. We did have ice cream, which was really, really good. And then we had 12 people in choir, 10 applied and 5 have been hired from that, and those were all for transportation. We also have, I wanted to show you this inquiry versus application. So our application right now is really long, and so what we've done is come up with just a much shorter version of that, and they can sign up, and then we contact them to talk to them about the positions that we have open. So that's been really, really positive. We've had over, I think, 300 people inquire about jobs, so that's been amazing. And then finally, I'm going to show you this final video. You're going to meet Gretchen, and she's going to talk about her job at the high school. We did that on social media for 3 days. It cost us about $60. We had 555 clicks and 8,231 views. So we'll continue to utilize that tool as we can to get people interested in working at Linn-Mar.
Well, when I first show up in the morning, I meet everyone in the study mall and we have a conversation about which students are going to be absent, which staff members are absent. After that, I'll sometimes go to a class with a student, a general education class. Sometimes I'll stay in the special education area. I was able to work with my boss and work with the teachers to schedule classes so that I can leave and be home when my son is home. It's amazing to me the impact that I can have on students in general. I love getting to know the students and knowing what's going to help them overcome their hurdles that day.
Yay. Thank you to Renee and Riley for putting that together. Any questions?
I loved hearing about the Cohawks and all the alumni and everything. I'm curious how many of the new hires had some previous tie to Linn-Mar. Did you happen to, off the top of your head, like either their alumni or family or anything?
I would have to go back and look.
That's fine. It's not a super important question. I was just
But
like,
we tend to have a lot come back.
Yeah.
And want to work here. Mm-hmm.
No, it's great. Great presentation.
Yeah, as we do those, as our students graduate and they want to be educators and we do that promise you an interview thing, it would be great if when they start funneling back through to see how many do come back and interview and how many we hire. But I want to say one more time, only having 7 associate positions open the second week of school is a huge, huge accomplishment. And kudos to you and your team, because we've been trying to fix that for several years now, and it seems like all the pieces have now fallen into place, so well done.
Yes. 7 sounds better than 32.
Thank you also for advocating for your staff and for also the creativity that you bring to this position and leaning collaboratively with your coworkers to create a tool that you didn't have to make, but look at the outcome that it had. So I really appreciate all the different learning styles. And yes, I will quote you about the Cohawks from now on.
Fabulous.
And especially the year 19, what was it?
22.
All right. There you go. Anybody have any further questions?
I did just have a question. This is great work. Thank you. Sometimes hindsight's always best. So it would be interesting now that we're so much in a different spot with our student support associates. If you had any just, at some other point, had any just kind of in hindsight, these are some of the lessons learned from that we can all use to improve the next time or share with other districts, because I know I've heard from other districts that they've been going through the same issues. We are not unique or alone in that situation. So it's just always interesting to be able to leverage the best practices, especially when you're creating them like that.
And we do get together as a group occasionally and kind of talk about what everybody else is doing. And unfortunately, around this area, we're all competing for the same people, but we partner.
I do have one more. Did we get all the bus drivers we needed, or are we still short?
We still have a couple. I think he has a few that are almost towards the end of their training, but he can always use more.
I saw the banner was still up. I drove by one of the schools and I saw it, so I was curious. Thanks.
Yeah. We'll always take bus drivers.
Thank you, and it's good to see that you are well. So
Yes,
thank you for your
thank you.
presentation today.
Thank you.
We're going to move on now to item number 402, the Marion City Council report. We have 2 meetings. Britt, you had August 21st.
Did. Okay, so there was an annexation of 102.67 acres. It's a redo on the original annexation of the area that was proposed for the now paused aquatic area, but they did have to, there was some sort of mistake, so they had to re-annex it, and I only mention it because that is in our segment of town. They set a public hearing. It was set for September 4th, which I know has already passed, but it was to rezone some land out by Airport Drive and Enterprise Drive. Again, that's kind of out by our O&M facility, so there's going to be construction out there when that goes through, if it goes through. Sorry, I wrote in green pen in my car, and now I can't read it because it's really light. As I was listening, the Champions Estates 5th edition, that's 8.92 acres off of County Home Road in LaCour, has been rezoned for residential. So it was approved for single homes, townhomes, and duplexes. So that would be feeding into, I think, like Boulder Peak and Indian Creek when those go up. And then last, I'm excited, they did the second reading and amended Marion City Code to allow gas stations on Tower Terrace Road. So they did put some limitations and parameters around their ideal situation. They don't want more than 16 vehicles being able to be serviced. The gas stations the pumps have to face away from the road so you can't see them from the road. And they have approved a potential of 4 intersections where a gas station could go. So when that decision is made, it could either go at the intersection of Tower Terrace and Alburnett, Tower Terrace and Winslow, which would be right over here, Tower Terrace and 35th, or Tower Terrace and Highway 13. So I would be excited about any of them because we need a gas station on this side of town. So those were the 4 kind of big things that came out of the meeting on the 21st.
Thank you very much. Any questions? If not, we'll move on. We also have a report for September 4th. Midhat?
So I went in person to this one, and when I got there, there was no spots to sit. I actually got to see Officer Dobbs over there because the Marion Chief of Police, Jeremy Sprague, was taking his oath that day. So that was very exciting. Congratulations to Police Chief Jeremy Sprague. Then they declared September as the library sign-up month. I'm all for libraries. That was cool for me. And Labor Union Appreciation Month. And then they had a vote on the Aquatic Center, and it is now going to go on the ballot this time around. So they want to do more research and looking at the funding with different sources. So that's why. Those were my 4 things.
Thank you very much. Any questions? If not, we will move on now to item number 403, our Facilities Advisory Committee report. Which one of the team members is giving that report?
You want to do it? We had pretty good discussion just about thinking forward with a demographer and how we want to study what we believe that the makeup of the community and especially of the district will be as we continue to grow. And that influences both just budgetary planning as well as class size planning as we consider where that growth is and where our physical buildings are and how we want to move forward into the future. So Jonathan's taking that back with his team to put together an RFP to get some information on that so we can kind of continue to move forward. We also talked about doing an RFP for getting either an architect or a contractor in to help us, maintain a good picture of what our buildings are in, what sort of shape they're in, so we can continue to maintain, the campuses that we've got. Our voters have continued to approve the PEPL and the belief in the funding for what we've got, and we're maintaining it. So it's on us to make sure that we maintain that. One of the really good discussions that came out of that was some of the complexities of Iowa law in the contracting side. And one of the pieces, Jonathan, stop me if I get it wrong here, but if we go out and get an RFP for an architect to do the work, to kind of assess where our buildings are and what's needed to maintain and keep them in the good shape that they're in, that RFP comes without a dollar assigned to it. And we have to judge it based upon how much their services align with our requests. And whichever one we then pick, then we get told what their budget, what their costs would be. It is a crazy process in Iowa that they would force us to do that, but that's the way that the law kind of works, is that you have to pick an architect based upon their services and how that matches with what you need, and then you can start talking about budget, which is the exact opposite of every other contracting method I've ever used. We're not, if we were to pick an architect like that, we're not obligated to then use them, but if we don't use them, then it really lengthens the overall process and contracting time.
We did ask a lot of questions, and I want to jump on that and say, it's kind of like Clue. They have to put their price in a sealed envelope, and we just can't look at it. So it's not like they come up with their price after we pick them. It's in this other envelope that no one can look at, but it's preset before when they submit their bid. So that made me feel like not great, but better, because I was like, oh, we pick them and then they set a price. And John was nice enough to clarify that no, we just can't see what the price is until after we pick them. So.
Yeah, I can read the language here real quick, just so it's documented, I guess. So it's pursuant to Iowa Code 26.4. The price proposal will only be opened after the selection based on listed qualification has occurred. If a successful price cannot be reached with the selected architect, the district shall consider further negotiations with other architects submitting qualifying proposals. So that's the language that's included in that RFP. So that's the new process. They want us to pick based on qualitative context instead of quantitative context. So
Can I ask a clarification that I'm sure you guys have already asked? What situations is this applicable to? And then is it still applicable if we if we write an RFP for someone other than an architect to do the...
Architects only. If we RFP to a contractor, then we get the price up front.
Okay. And then, like, for the situation, like, is it an architect for any purpose whatsoever?
yeah, so it's a fee-based selection of an architect, landscape architect, or engineer for a public improvement shall be prohibited.
Okay.
It's relatively new. They just passed it, so.
Oh, this is a new law?
Yeah,
Within,
I don't know
the
if I don't.
2 years.
Yeah, last two, maybe 3 at the most.
Yeah, so it's relatively new.
Got it. Thank you for that clarification.
So then good question, Laura, because yes, we did ask that exact question. So for taxpayers who are listening, right, and for us who are, stewards of the taxpayer dollar, right, ultimately, we still get to have some decision on that. We don't get a bill and have to pay for a service that we don't have any say over. It lengthens the process of going through that work. So.
It also will encourage us, I think, and we were already doing this, but to decide based on projects. Sometimes, John was really good about clarifying, sometimes we don't need an architect because it's not a whole brand new building. So we could just contact a contractor and say, what do you think about this? Is what we want to do. And we wouldn't have to go through, it would be different. So it would be simpler for some projects than it would be for others.
Is there any further discussion?
I just had a question for the Facilities Advisory Committee about just kind of checking in on the estimated timeline for the 10-year plan. I'm just eager to see when that's going to be coming forward. I think you had mentioned it, but I just wanted to check in.
Is there a committee member to speak to that?
Yeah, I can speak to that. So this RFP for the facilities assessment, that's kind of step one. We want to be sure we have that data back so that our 10-year plan really reflects what the need is out there. So roughly a timeline on that, if I remember correctly, is we would be coming back to the board October 27th, the October board meeting, with a recommendation for who to move forward with. Then at that time is when we would open the fee envelope to negotiate fee with the hopes of a contract coming back in November with that firm, and then the assessment would take place after that, and then the 10-year plan after that. So that's kind of the next steps moving forward here for the next couple of months.
Got it. And is anything on hold that we've discussed, like
So-
to wait for that?
I was going to say, there are a couple of projects that we kind of agreed that we've been talking about them for several years, so we don't want to put them on hold for the facility assessment, like the Oak Ridge Fine Arts section and some of the playground discussions. So those things we're continuing to talk about as we're working on this RFP.
Got it. Thank you.
If there's no further discussion, we will continue on with item number 404, our superintendent's report.
Good evening, everyone. Some student highlights to kick off the year. Of course, in the last couple of weeks, we've welcomed all of our PK through 12th grade students, and just want to thank our families and staff that helped ensure us that we kicked off a great start to the school year. Already, we've had some academic honors at the high school level. Congratulations to the 1,000 plus Linn-Mar High School students who are recognized just last Thursday, September 4th, during the Academic Awards assemblies. Academic Awards honor students who earn a GPA of 3.33 or higher during the past academic year. Just a few facilities highlights. Oftentimes we recognize or talk about here several of the major projects, but we did have a lot of work going on over the summer, and I want to thank our facilities team, John, Jerry, our technology team for their work over the summer in particular, and then also a shout out to the City of Marion for partnering with the district on the new Wilkins playground. So over the summer, Excelsior, a new roof was installed. Wilkins, the new playground is currently still under installation. We're working on the surfacing part of that right now. Linn-Mar High School, we had a new stadium scoreboard installed. Also, the work is ongoing at the performance venue at the high school. There's been security upgrades across the district that include cameras, locks, door locks in certain buildings, as well as a new intercom system. And then district-wide, we're in the early implementation stages of our new Raptor visitor and volunteer sign-in system. And it won't be long before we're celebrating homecoming. In fact, next week, homecoming, which has been entitled this year Own the Moment, will be celebrated during the week of September 15th through 19th. The annual parade will be held on Wednesday the 17th, beginning at 5:15, and we just want to thank all of those who are working behind the scenes to make this a success. We had a little bit of an excitement last week with the need to evacuate the high school on Tuesday due to a gas leak, and our students and staff did an amazing job throughout the event. I appreciated the building level team and the district's team's effort in managing the event and providing timely updates to various stakeholder groups. You don't want things like that to happen, but overall it went really smoothly and able to get the kids back in the building in a fairly short amount of time. As far as my recent meeting participation, I was able to get out to all of our attendance centers on opening day, which is quite the feat with 12 buildings, but it was all amazing. I attended a varsity girls tennis match and one of the high school academic assemblies. We've been busy meeting with our administrators as well with the monthly principals meeting. We hosted a training session here on goal setting for the year with building administrators and instructional coaches. Recently, I attended a Grantwood AEA superintendent's meeting as well. And as far as community, we've been involved in continued conversations with the city with safe routes to schools. Linn-Mar School Foundation Board kicked off their meeting for the start of this school year. Rotary, and then I attended a Mount Mercy President's Advisory Council meeting. Just a little bit more about our performance venue project then. They're working on painting different areas in the auditorium, and cloud framing continues. There's drywall installation and finishing happening in the hard lid areas of the auditorium at the north end. Theater rigging installation has begun. Exterior sidewalks are being poured. They're continuing with exterior sheet metal installation. There's rough grading happening on the west and south sides of the site, and there's continual electrical and mechanical rough-ins ongoing. And then on September 24th, with our indoor activity center and the renovation projects, we are hosting, along with OPN, a kickoff meeting with the steering committee. So that committee is being put together, and we'll have our first meeting of several to continue with that project. A few events coming up. We talked already about the homecoming parade next week. We'll be offering high school parent conferences on the 18th. And also on the 18th, the school foundation is having their Dine Out for Schools Day event. So it's been a great start to this new school year.
Does anybody have any questions for Amy?
I don't have a question, but you reminded me of something that we should have said during facilities. I have gotten questions about why isn't Wilkins done yet, and I just want to remind everyone that it rained for like 2.5 weeks straight in July, which made it almost impossible to put in foundation, so that's why it's delayed.
Yep. Thanks for that note. I appreciate that.
Anything else? Well, thank you very much. We'll move on now to our unfinished business, item number 500. At this time, we have item number 501, second reading of policy recommendations. This is Exhibit 501.1. Is there a motion, please?
Motion to approve the second reading of the policy recommendations as presented in Exhibit 501.1.
Second.
There's a motion by Midhat and a second by Laura. Is there any discussion?
I just have one question/request. Policy 603.11, I had it in my notes, but I didn't mention it during the first reading. But the first paragraph, when we reviewed this policy in February of 2024, I was on policy, so I remember. Even though ISB recommends striking, including sexually transmitted diseases and acquired immune deficiency syndrome and current crucial health issues, we as a board had opted to keep that in because we do still teach those things, and I would request that that still be left in there. We don't have to change everything to be the basic template that ISB provides us.
In just a moment, we're catching up to you a little bit here, Britt.
Yep.
I'd like to make one clarification as we're looking into this. When we refer to IASB and their recommendations, it is not one single voice that we refer to. We are referring to their due diligence on our behalf, and we've asked for this recommendation from them. What would they say? They have not only a superb staff, but they are thinking school and what would be best. So please know, as we say ISB, we don't have to follow them. At the same time, they have due diligence as well. So it's kind of, we want to make sure that it's Linn-Mar-ish in our language, but also knowing that we rely heavily on their credibility.
I would say the board can decide whether they want to take that language up. I don't see that it's problematic to keep it in.
Yeah, it was changed back in 2024, and it was like it's not stricken like you can't teach it. It was just removed because now it's optional. But at the time, we had asked on policy committee if we still teach those things. The answer was yes, so we opted to keep it in the policy.
The only thing I don't know is whether or not there's, with any of the new regulations over the past year, if there's anything that would prevent us from remaining in there, and I'm not sure I feel comfortable keeping it in there without knowing or without having conversation with or having it reviewed. Because we haven't had that reviewed. So that's my only concern with keeping it in. I support having the language in there if we can, but we just haven't had that piece reviewed by any legal.
Melissa, that was actually what my response was going to be as well, because my brain is not cooperating at the moment, and I didn't have a note on that, but that was definitely in the legislation for a while. The regulations around when and what grades some of that subject matter could be taught, and I would have to go double check to get confirmation on that. but it's a fair question. That is my only, like, I want to go check this to make sure. So thank you.
So we have a motion, oh, go ahead. You have a comment, anybody else? No, do not. We're not going to amend this motion. Instead, at this time, it's going to stand. Let's get through this before we start amending something that we just heard from Laura. We need to go back and look and dig deeper. And Britt has not asked for amendment. She asked us, though, to do some more due diligence. And as we meet Wednesday morning, we will bring it up again. I have my packet here ready to go for Wednesday. So Amy's putting that as a note that we will clarify for you, Britt. Thank you very much. So there is no amendment because no amendment was requested. So the original motion still stands. This is second reading of the policy recommendations. We have a motion, a second, a discussion. Is there any further discussion? If not, may I have all in favor say yes?
Yes.
Any opposed? The motion carries. We have now item number 502, second reading of the policy recommendations, Exhibit 502.1.
Motion to approve the second reading of the policies 104.1, 104.1-R, 104.2-E, 302.1, 303.1, and 400.1 as presented in Exhibit 502.1.
I'll second that.
Thank you. We have a motion by Laura, a second by Barry. Is there discussion? Seeing no discussion, may I have a vote, please? All in favor say yes?
Yes.
Any opposed? The motion has carried. We're now on to new business, item number 600. We have 601 fundraising request.
Motion to approve the fundraising request as presented in Exhibit 601.1.
Second.
We have a motion by Britt and a second by Midhat. Is there any discussion? Without any discussion, may I have all in favor say yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? The motion carries. 603, open enrollment request. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve the open enrollment requests as presented.
Second?
We have a motion by Laura, a second by Melissa. Is there any discussion?
Welcome to the district.
Welcome to the district. That's awesome.
And the only denied in is because of insufficient space, so that's exciting to see.
Thank you. Any other further comments? If not, all approved, please say yes.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. We're at item number 700, our consent agenda. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
There is a motion by Britt and a second by Barry. Is there any discussion, please? As there is no discussion, may I have all in favor say yes?
Yes.
Any opposed? The consent agenda has been approved. All right, we are now on to item number 800, board calendar and communication. I'd like to highlight some of our upcoming board events. We are back in full swing. Some of us will be here quite often. September 10th, policy committee meeting. September 11th, a board visit to Oak Ridge. That's at 8:30 in the morning. September 18th, our finance and audit committee. And September 25th, a board visit to Boulder Peak at 11:30 a.m. Can I please have a volunteer to attend the October 9th and October 23rd Marion City Council meetings? You could be the same person or two separate. October 9th?
I can do it.
Thank you, Midhat. How about October 23rd?
I'll take it.
Thank you, Barry. Also, I'd like to share that and remind everyone that school board elections are taking place on November 4th. Anyone who's interested in submitting their name as a candidate can just contact all the information is there, but the paperwork is due by September 18th, I believe. Is that correct? 18th, not 15th, 18th. So get your, make your decision. You're welcome to contact any board member to find out more information. You need to get the paperwork in, and it includes signatures to endorse you as a candidate. So please follow all of that. It is on the board, on our website at the school under board members. One final note on that is that we will have a closed session after our meeting tonight for the superintendent's beginning year evaluation and goal setting. Are there any additional comments or communications from the board?
I move to adjourn at 5:39, please.
There's a motion by Barry, second.
Second.
We have a motion by Barry and a second by Midhat. Any discussion? If not, may I have a vote? All in favor, say yes.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. We are adjourned.